Right. What's going on, family? Shalom to everybody. I pray y'all are doing well on this blessed day as we off top. Give the Most High the honor, the glory, and definitely all praise and worship. Greetings to you, Sister Wanda, Sister Diana. I'm glad y'all can tune in on this hot topic right here. Let me ask you off top, my beautiful sisters, Sister Wanda and Sister Diana. From all you're looking in on these things, why do so many churches go broke? And why are so many people burned out with paying so much tithes, but not really seeing a lot of results? And I know this is a touchy subject because we see it more and more, especially since when the pandemic hit. More and more people decided not to go back in church business. Okay. Oh, Wanda. I love that I saw top. Poor stewardship. Welcome on, How Keys. The question again is the title. Why do you think so many churches are going broke? And why there are so many burned out tithe payers who've been paying tithes a long time and they don't see a lot of results like they want to see? And Sister Wanda said, poor stewardship. And I want to kind of get into this because we see a lot of this. Welcome on, Brother Chris. Especially in the Black community. I'm going to go ahead and use the name Black community. I always say this: you have 6 or 7 churches on one street. Seems like it don't matter which neighborhood I go to, you'll see more and more churches across the street from each other, down the street from each other, and a lot of them don't even really associate with each other. And it's interesting how we keep talking about we need more and more buildings. I'm kind of piggybacking off the video I did the other day about how so many preachers want a new building, but they can't really even take care of the one at the end. And what's going on, Long Beach? Salute to you also. Respect and peace and blessings to you. So I kind of want to just toss this subject around a little bit before I go back in the house, because a nice email was sent to me off of that video I did about dead ministries. They want to keep adding more ministries. They was like, well, JT, can we do a live chat about that? Yes. And it's good to do it live to see your input, because if you've been brought up in the church or you've been seeing these things all your life like I have, a lot of people are starting to wake up, you know. But Sister Wanda took it there. That's why I want to start it anyway, about stewardship, you know. And let me throw this out there because I know somebody gonna see this title and want to argue. First of all, this is not a video to argue with people about who tithe and who don't. Some people tithe, some people give. Some people give and tithe. Some people don't tithe at all and they just give. What you do is your business. I'm not even in your business like that. What you do is what you do. So, because you got this ongoing argument about, you know, the law is over and done with. You don't pay tithes, and then you got these same preachers that they use in Malachi 3 and 8 that tell you the Old Testament is over and done with. Yet and still they taking up tithes. They using Malachi. Some preachers will use, you know, they'll use Paul in the New Covenant and say, let every man give from his heart. You got some preachers, they not talking about tithe like some of these other ones. They'll just simply say, give from your heart. So I want to make that point first because I'm not here to argue with nobody. We're just bringing out facts. And I'm going to continue this video from the piggybacking off of the other video on why you see why things are the way they are. And Hal Keys, I love that you say no proper direction and poor guidance. Exactly. Especially if you have a pastor that's a poor steward. See, some of these pastors jumping out here, they home not in order. And you can't be struggling at home and then your home is out of order. And then you still trying to, especially if you don't have that many members. You got deacons and trustees who don't understand stewardship. And then on another note, you got people in leadership who never learn how to lead. Just think about that. So this is why I'm using this title, Burnt Out Tithe Payers. When you look at the building funds in most churches, and you just reflect back over the last 10 or 15 years of all of the money that's been taken up. See, I'm going to make some people mad with this, but I don't care. I love you enough to tell you the truth. You see more and more people trying to use tithes to handle the other ministries that they really ain't able to handle. So this is like a part 2 and a part 3. But what do you mean by that, JT? Like I told y'all the other day, so many churches and pastors, they want to have all these ministries. But like I said, if you can't take care of one ministry, why are you trying to keep adding on ministries? Especially if you don't have the people nor the funding to do it with. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. In the Black community, all these churches on one street. If you notice, I'm gonna point out something that's always overlooked. The community. I'm not saying, welcome on, Marquita, peace and blessings to you, and Chris Freeman. Love y'all. I'm not saying feel me in this video, y'all. I'm not talking about all churches. I'm not talking about all pastors. But I'm explaining to you the difference between the tithing versus the ones that know how to go get the grants. See, you think, let me paint a picture for you. Let's say a church building, its seat maybe 200. And it's not a brand new building. Okay, let's paint a picture here. On a good Sunday, you may have 50 members. Okay, let's paint a picture here. But out of that 50 members, let's say only 20 of them are tithing. Now, I'm painting a picture for you. And let's say it goes up and down from week to week, right? So let's just say last Sunday, they only took up $1,200. That sounds good, don't it? I ain't through yet. They took up $1,200 in tithing and offering, right? Okay. Let's use that number right there, $1,200. But then the organ player makes $600 a Sunday. Half of your 12 is already gone. I'm not done yet. The drummer makes $125. The bass player is making $150. The piano player is making $200. You see where I'm going with this? So if your tithing drop from week to week, this is why a lot of musicians, they come to the musicians and ask them, are y'all willing to take a pay cut? Now keep this in mind. You got the building fund. You got kids selling candy. You got the car wash. You got the fish fries, the bake sales. All this is going on, right? Come on, Long Beach. That's gone. That ain't nothing. It's gone quick. So I'm painting a picture of you so you can understand why when they try to go get these loans from the bank, they looking at more money going. They looking at more money going out than coming in. And then your paperwork ain't right. Too many churches want a grant, but they don't have no paperwork. Or they not involved with the community. See, the money, most churches that know what I'm talking about, they know the money is out there to get. And they know how to get it. But it's us in these black communities that try to, like I said the other day, we want to base everything off these faith-based offerings. It takes more than that. Then you look at these buildings that's paid for. That's right. That's right, Long Beach. Because the average piano player that I know, I'm saying on the average, the lowest they're going to make is probably $400 a Sunday, $500 a Sunday. You may have some that make $300 a Sunday, and then the ones that's really on the low scale are going to make $100 a Sunday. But then there's times when the trustees are going to tell you we didn't take up enough offering, tithes and offering, so we're not going to be able to pay you. And what that does a lot of times, it makes musicians quit. And I'm not talking about all musicians. So you look at that 1,200. Now let's keep going, Long Beach. Long Beach, check this out. But then you've been having a roof leak problem. So the pastor is constantly asking people, we got to get the roof fixed. Let's just say maintenance on the church building is way over. It ain't just the roof. The floor is caving in. The air conditioner is leaking. The central air unit on one side is going out, and it's summertime. You catch my drift where I'm going with this? So the problem that comes into play is the pastor gets in the pulpit. I'm not talking about all pastors once again, and they, hey y'all, we come on, we got to do better than this, and it hurts the people that continue to tithe because they get burned out. Because they ask questions like, Pastor, it's got to be another way. It is some kind of way we can qualify, and most pastors that don't know, they'll say no. Now, to the churches that go 501c3, they know what I'm talking about. That's why you see the difference. That's right, Chris. And that's not every other month. It's not every 2 weeks. That's like you say, Chris, that's every week. And you got all these, we ain't even talked about the other ministries yet, Long Beach. They want you to sow a seed in this ministry. But then, hey, man, we gotta get on YouTube and Facebook. We need cameras, we need laptops, we need lights. We see you keep adding, but you depending on your tithes. So I want to explain to you what most people do. They continue to do the same thing, which is get in the pulpit, have a business meetings over and over again, And you look at it. See, JoJo, you asked me, well, JT, how's those other churches going and getting all this stuff because they have the paperwork? See, tithes and offering is going to take care of the utilities. May take care of the paying the musicians. Now check this out. I didn't even add this in there. We still talking about 1,200. Notice I didn't even add the pastor's salary in there. So say the pastor is making $700 a week. You see all that money that just went out, and you never break through like you need to, because once again, tithes and offerings drop every week. And don't let nobody leave the church. They done got into it and they done left the church building. So now they was like, oh man, we lost the heavy tithe payer. So they go to the corner again, brother. I know what we said, man. I know you've been faithful. But brother, brothers and sisters, we can't pay pastor and the musicians. So somebody got to take a cut, or we got to figure out something. And most pastors that I know would not preach for free. Rarely find that. Most musicians that I know, except for a few, would not play for free. So once again, when the money leaves, a lot of times the musicians leave, or their pastor may leave. Because real talk, I'm not being funny, some pastors don't have a regular job. They don't. All they have is the ministry. Some musicians don't have regular jobs. All they have is the music, the ministry. They're musicians. That's what they do for a living. So you got to think about all this. That's why I'm using this title. So the ones that's tithe year after year after year after year, they so burnt out. They tired of having these business meetings with the same old outcome. They tired of giving. They tired of hearing. They tired of seeing that board being put on the wall, that chart. Hey, y'all, we got a goal to reach. And that goes on for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. So you can just imagine how many people are burnt out. So they tithe is barely, Diana is barely covering the building. Barely. See, most preachers that I know that went to seminary school, they never come out of seminary school dealing with stewardship. Just to be honest. Because they've been taught tithe. Well, here's the difference right here. This is why I made the point about the community. The tithe that they taking care of the building. But then when you start talking about getting the community involved, that's how you get the grants. I've had these talks with it seems like millions of pastors, because they don't understand the difference between tithing versus the grant money. That's why you see churches that can't afford to pay the musician. Then you see churches that can afford to pay the musician, because they basing everything on man, I could teach a class on this. I wish some of these pastors let me come to their church instead of run. Are you gonna run everybody out, JT? No, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you to get to the next level so you quit burning your faithful tithe members out. And you wonder why you tithing and you still broke. The church is still broke down like that, or the building needs repaired. Don't you know when you qualify for those grants, you can get that building repaired? But they are not going to give you boy, y'all better listen tonight. They're not going to give you that grant money if you don't have your paperwork intact. And most churches don't have the paperwork. That's why I just made the point. You want to go to the bank and get a loan, and the bank looking at all your stuff, and they see more money going out than more money coming in. They see you borderline. Well, can you see? Most people don't even know Walmart gives grants. These are the things that they don't tell you. But see, when you try to tell people this information, they look at you like you're crazy and think you don't know what you're talking about. See, working with the North Texas Food Bank for those years, I learned a lot about how it works, how it operates. That's why I was heavily involved in the food bank. See, most of these churches, they want a food bank, but they don't know how to go about it. And then half the people don't want to go get up and go pick up the food no way. Let me tell you something that you may not know. The tithes and offering, according to how many people you got tithing and paying offerings, giving offerings, that's what's covering the utilities, the lights, the electricity, the water. But like I say, but then you run out. And when you run out, like I say, the roof leaking, you know how much it costs to put a roof on. So what they don't understand is you depend, and then, oh, y'all, let's just have, we're gonna do a faith movement. You can have all the faith movements you want. But you notice how many churches are having a faith movement and they still got the building fund going. They having a faith movement and they still haven't got the roof fixed. They having a faith movement and they just going more and more and more in debt, Pastor Corey. Because see, while you having a faith movement, you don't have no structure. Teach, Holy Spirit. You don't have no plan. You just depending on the tithes. They want, oh man, they done got into it again. Now the biggest family, they gone, and they was paying, man, at least $400 a week in tithe, and they gone. How are we gonna cover that? But you're gonna have to go tell the bass player, we're gonna have to cut him. This is why you see, I'm answering all your questions, y'all. This is why you see it going like that, because the churches that's successful, they've been taught how to get the grants, while you just been taught how to have a faith movement. Ooh-wee. It's ugly, but it's right, y'all. See, the grants, when you start talking about fundraising, or let me just say it like this, you want people to fund you. Let me tell you something, man, people ain't gonna tell you this money is out here. But you don't know how to tap into it. So you keep on, well, we keep begging and begging. Man, you've been saying this all your life, the begging and begging, and it's still the same situation. Because they don't tell you that the grants deal with the community. Most churches I know don't even want to deal with the community. They don't even want to go take nothing to the homeless people. I'm being honest, y'all. I'm not saying all. So the people that's got the money, you already know who that is. The funders are not going to fund you if you can't show the paperwork. You can't prove to them this and that. But you want a prison ministry. And I'm going to tell you something. Most of these outreach ministries are not doing it the right way. That's why the outreach ministry is struggling. That paperwork gonna say it all, but then hey, they're gonna look at you like you crazy. You want us to fund what? I've seen this so many times, y'all. Grants deal with the community. And then we have the stuff labeled all wrong. There are some things, let me make this clear. There are some things a lot of churches are doing right in their own eyesight, but they're not doing it right for it to be put on paper. You are doing some things. I give you an example. We start talking about the community. Let's look at number one that's always done in the summertime. Vacation Bible School is what you call it. But the people that fund it, that's funding, they give it a new name. They start looking at what you're doing with the community. Oh, y'all did that right there? Okay, we'll get behind y'all with that. Let me see your paperwork on it. And next thing you know, they funding it. Because tithes is taking care of the building. But the grant money is taking care of the community. Y'all better catch that right there. That's why they want to see, what are you doing for the community? And let me tell you something, don't get mad when I say this. Waiting on Thanksgiving in November, that's not enough. You talking about getting funded, and all they see you do is pass out turkeys to people in Thanksgiving. While you looking at people starving all year long. That's right, Pastor Corey. I just said that before you came in. That's why you got all, and I'm gonna tell you something else I hate to see. These little kids, excuse me, these little children that stand on the corner with these signs, running up to cars in the middle of the intersection. Support us. They got their jaws out. It should never be like that. Never. Just like I hate to see all this stuff in the church, man, all this selling this and selling that. And then next thing you know, it's still the same situation. But how many churches want these grants, but they are not involved with the community? Well, then I hear this all the time with JT. We need more members. Is that the case, y'all? Is that the answer? That we need more members? Because I've seen some small churches with faithful members who understand stewardship, who understand grants, who understand how to get these write-offs. They have, man, did some awesome work with just a few because they knew what to do. I think about all the pastors that done been busted stealing the money, the deacons that have been stealing the money. Well, we're going to have to get another movement, brother. We'll figure out the next movement. Let's try this and that. Is it that you need another movement or you need structure and a strategy? The churches that you see, some of y'all got mad the other day when I said it's too many church buildings that look like a crack house. That's right, Long Beach, I agree. It ain't always the point that you need, like you say, you need more members. You need the right paperwork. You need the strategy. I like that, structure and strategy. Those two S's right there is the reason why, go back to my title, why so many churches are going broke. Why so many people are tired of tithing. Well, Pastor, what's the vision? And if the vision, Pastor Corey just said this not too long ago, if the vision gets lost, come on now. You already know the end of that. Well, we got to get the young people in, man. Y'all remember that day I talked about, so what is it you're going to do to try to get the young people and keep the young people in the building? I call it generational shifts, because now more and more of the youth, you see less youth in a lot of churches. I was just talking to a pastor. He was talking about the building they in and the repairs that they need and how they struggling because the tithe is not there to cover everything. And I was saying, brother, if you had your paperwork done right, if you could show what you're doing with the community, what the church is doing, get involved, don't you know that money could be right there given to y'all for those building repairs. But instead of getting that money, once again, you got to beg your congregation. That's tough on the church. Especially when something like the Central Art Unit goes out. That's tough. Because unexpected things also happen in church buildings. Stuff you don't think that's going to happen, and all of a sudden it happens. Then the next thing you know, hey, y'all, I think about the preachers that's really funding the church building out of their own home, from their own pocket, let me say. Because a lot of pastors go start a church and it puts pressure on their own home. You relying on the tithes and offering. And another thing, this is why I preach so hard, y'all, about the Great Commission. Well, some may say, well, JT, you know, we do evangelize in the community. Some of y'all, that's all y'all do is evangelize in the community, your own community. That's good. But this is deeper than your own community. The Great Commission goes all over. Go ye therefore, teaching and making disciples in all nations and tongues. So when you see, well, why is this church boarded up now? Why so many people saying, man, I'm just tired. I'm tired of this begging from these money-hungry preachers that tithes, man. It's just, it just seemed like church done became all about begging for money. And this is hurting a whole lot of folks in so many ways. So that's all I want to address. But I'm gonna get back in this house. I gotta go in here and make a few phone calls and get back with some of the family members. But just think about what I'm saying in this video, especially when you're dealing with the Black community, because see, the ones that people keep trying to get these grants from, they don't talk like us. if you catch what I'm saying. You got to show this proof once again. But most pastors, they give up and they just continue to follow the same strategy that the other ones I know that come out of seminary school do. See, it's amazing how you can go to seminary school. They can teach you the Bible. Like you said, brother, in your email, they teach the Bible, but at the same time, how is it all this teaching in the Bible? You're not teaching stewardship. You're not teaching plan and structure. And that same Bible got it rolled in there. Why do you think Christ at 12 or 13 years old was saying, I must be about my Father's business? Because there is a part of church that is business. But nowadays, church is all business. Because it takes money to make money. Now y'all see why I did that video the other day about why the priests, they didn't take care of the repairs of the temple when we came out of 2 Kings. That's why I went to those scriptures. They was taking up the money, but they wasn't taking care of the building. They was not repairing the building. This is in the Old Testament. They was taking the money for themselves. So when it's done the right way, the Most High will put you around the people that you need, but so many people are so blinded, they can't see it. And then when you listen to somebody like me, here's a brother sitting in this chair with no degree, ain't went to nobody college. How do I know all these things? The Holy Spirit teaches me all things. Plus, I will watch people just year after year, Marquita, do it the wrong way. I've seen so much wrong way. That's why I know how to do it the right way. Yahweh. You can look at people mess up so long. All my life, I've been in church. Pastor Corey, all his life, we've seen this. And that's why that's the definition of insanity, Marquita, when you doing the same thing and you expecting different results. That's insanity. And that's what most churches I know are doing. They are doing the same thing and expecting different results. So many churches go in the red. And that's why I say in the Black community, there's a lot of ran down buildings. The foundation is shifting. The roof is leaking. And you trying to pay the pastor, the musicians, You taking up all this time offering, and somebody getting a shortcut. How do I also know I've been a part of this? And I tried to warn pastors. See, some people, they look at you because you don't dress like them. You don't talk like them. You don't have on no suit like them. You ain't got no degree like them. And these pastors I'm talking about got degrees. They got degrees, Marquita. And they still sitting up talking about, man, I just don't know how to grow the church, man. You're not only not growing spiritually, but you almost in bankrupt. I remember one pastor I was riding with him. He's trying to go get along for the church. I said, okay. I already knew it wasn't gonna work. He goes in there once again, ain't got the right paperwork. And I think they was asking for maybe close to 60 grand, 70 grand. This was years ago. Boy, they looked at him like he was crazy. They said, are you serious, Pastor? This is all you got to show proof of. You in the red. If the bank is looking at you in the red all the time, even in your own life, why would they even want to deal with you? You can't say what happened right here. Paperwork so out of order, you don't know, okay, where all this money went? Oh, what happened right here? And all you can say is, I don't know. That's why in these church buildings, you got to have a cold-blooded secretary, or you want to say trustee, because some let the secretary do a trustee, however you look at it. You got to have somebody that really know what to do. Because I'm going to tell you something, once you jump 501c3, they're going to be up in all your business. Everything. All your business. So again, that's why a lot of churches jump 501c3 to go government status, also to get them grants, get that funding going, take the pressure off of the tithes and offering. That's why they do that. You get a little certain breaks with different things, like we talked about years ago. That's why I remember this church, this other church, when the pandemic hit, and it went down bad, man, and they couldn't afford to pay their musicians no more. They had about maybe 5 musicians, and the church was in bad shape. And they had to tell the musicians, this happened to me too before. They told the musicians, we just can't do it, y'all. That was y'all last check, you know. But then you get an argument out of that too, because some people believe you shouldn't pay musicians. Some people believe you shouldn't pay the musician, you shouldn't pay the pastor. It's each to their own. That's why I did that video about Apostle Paul. He said, I'm a tent maker, but there was times when Paul accepted gifts, and there was times when he didn't. But he did let them know I'm a tent maker. But like I said about the musicians, the temple musicians, they would hire Levites. That was their full-time job. They back in the old covenant, y'all know those that study, you know what I'm talking about. The Bible say they didn't have no other job. The Most High didn't want no other distractions. Just focus on the temple. So when people say it's not biblical, they ain't studied. Those Levite musicians was paid. Now I don't know how much they was paid, but they was paid. And that's the thing I always tell people. It's not that you getting a musician to try to rob the church, get a pastor that's trying to rob the church, but you just, hey, it depends on your congregation. The money that you decide that you can go with, that's what you got to go with. You trying to break and rob a church down. You see this church struggling, but then you what we say earlier, 1,200 Sunday, and the pastor making 7, and you trying to pay all the musicians, but then you got a musician that come in and say, well, I need at least 800. It's not gonna happen. 800 a week. And you gotta have that that same tithe and offering in there to cover that. That's why I say when it starts dropping, the musicians start dropping. So on that note, y'all, I got to get out of here, but I love y'all. Pastor Corey, I just got off, and thank you for that, the proud brother. It's just one of those situations, man. It's all in the Most High's hand. It's tough. It's tough. But thank you for the prayers, brother. I love y'all, family. Got to get out of here, but just keep in mind what I said. I see you, Big Mike. What's going on? You said during the pandemic, the Most High shut down all the churches. Too many members started to learn the truth on YouTube. Many never returned to Christian churches again. Interesting comment, brother. But let me ask you a question, brother Mike, before I get out of here. Did the Most High really shut down the churches? Or did the people live in fear of shut down the churches? Because all churches weren't closed down. I'm just asking the question, not to argue. I want to hear your input on that before I leave, brother. Because I love that comment. Did the Most High really shut down the buildings? Or did people get scared? Should we even have shut down the buildings? Come on, Mike, hit me back with that before I leave, bro. Or anybody, but I want to hear Mike as my boy. I'm proud of you, Mike. Proud of you, brother. And I thank you. What you tell us, Mike? You 5 years? Is it 5 years sober now from the joint? Correct me if I'm wrong, brother. Hallelujah, man. Hallelujah. Proud of you, brother. That's right, Pastor Corey. How many times on pay cuts? Or they come out there with their brother, we just ain't got nothing to give you today. Chris, you say you believe it was fear. Because I ran into a couple of pastors, they never did shut down. And they was going against going against them. Y'all don't shut this building down. Well, take me to jail. In Long Beach. You say the people in fear shut it down. I love that. I love that, though. I love that, brother Mike. It's interesting. That's why I always say, because you got this ongoing argument about, okay, is this God's doing or is this Satan's doing? Or did the Most High just allow it? The building I was going to at the time shut down. And when they shut down, a lot of people that really got comfortable and are not going back. Big Mike, you still here? I was trying to see if Mike was going to respond back. And I'm glad you took it there too, Mike, because that showed a great point to me about the level of faith. Now I understand about being cautious, but I was like, they didn't even put up a fight. They got scared. Sister Joyce, they got scared. Can we tell it like it is? Even the pastors I know, man, I'm scared. I'm scared of this stuff. But some of them still went to work. They still went to work. And the only reason, when the pandemic hit, I lost every income I had. It was by the grace of the Most High that kept me and my family, because I worked for the school. And when they shut the school down, and the unemployment office, it was so hard just even to call in. I went through some, man. I thought I was going to be sleeping in my car for a minute again. But the Most High kept us, boy. And when that stimulus hit and that 600, over that 600-700 a week, qualified for unemployment every week, man, I was making more money at the house. The pandemic was a blessing to me. I'm just being honest. The pandemic was a blessing. And then where I work at, they had my back. They said, we can't let y'all go out like that. So I always say, when things like this happen, you got to realize the Bible says the just shall live by faith. The Most High uses the government. Everything is a part of his perfect plan. Brother told me the other day, man, why ain't man ain't working? He got 4 kids. Talking about, man, I ain't working for no white man. I got laid off, but I ain't working for no white man. He white man, white folk, man, such there. I said, man, brother, you got a family. You can sit up there talking. I said, you must own your own business. He said, no, you don't own your own business, but you got 4 mouths to feed. Well, you got 4 mouths to feed, and you got a wife and yourself. And you said, I ain't working for no white man, white man. Boy, you don't know how the Holy Spirit gonna operate through somebody. White people that I know have helped me, man. I don't even like to use the term white or black, but I'm gonna say it in this video. Have helped me tremendously when I turned to my own, and all they did was turn their back on me. Yeah, Channel 85. Come on now. It was a huge blessing for me. Me and my wife, we was at the point where we was like, Most High finna show up, and he did. Show up. And that's why I'm gonna say this again. The just shall live by faith. Pastor Corey said the system shut it down because of COVID-19. There it is. There it is. I agree a million percent. That's what happened, Pastor Corey. See, the media, I've been saying this for years, they love to promote lies. And what do they add with those lies? Fear. Fear. Lies and fear. And I'm going to say this as I close, I do got to go. Y'all heard what Elon Musk said, right? It's another one coming. Supposed to hit harder than that one. How do they know these things before it happened? And y'all already know how I feel about Bill Gates and Fauci. And y'all see the pattern. Now you see more of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. But you know what time it is. You know what time it is. So I want to know y'all may the Most High bless y'all. And thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all continue to pray for me and I continue to pray for you. The update on Jordan, they put him back in the room in the hospital. They pretty much saying that it's nothing else they can do at this point because what's going on is that, and I told my wife I was going to update y'all. What's going on, y'all, is the mass, the tumor. It's growing and growing out of control. They can't stop it. They tried all they can, but they can't stop it. So they just had to drug him up some more and just he's not awake. He's not awake at all. And they just, like they told my oldest brother, to just prepare for the worst. But even with that being said, like I tell people, one thing about me, I've learned, I just text y'all this earlier, family. I've learned to put it in the hands of the Most High because whatever the Most High decides to do is going to be best, regardless of what I feel. And I keep my mind and my heart prepared for that. So I've already accepted whatever the outcome is. And I do that with everybody because I've learned that death in his eyesight of the saints is precious. And when I say my nephew is suffering, he is suffering, y'all. He's suffering bad, been suffering for years behind this. He's suffering. And if the Most High decides, hey, I can pray all I want. Father, don't take him away. Father, you know, that's what we are learned. That's what we learn to do. That's what we are taught to do. But I also say, Father, if it's too much on him, take him out of here. And it's so much on him. Because the more he try to stay away, the more he go back into being worse and worse because this is his brain. And it hurt like he had to watch it because that's my boy. He's like a son to me. That's my nephew, but that I always call him Neph's son. He's like a nephew/son, so that hurts. That hurts, man, to watch. And my oldest brother just earlier today, man, he broke down in the hospital. He's walking around the hospital crying. I said, big bro just got to let it out. You got to let it out. Cry it out, man. Cry it out. But we gotta stand strong though, still, you know. So that's the update, man. When they give you that information right there. But like I say, I still believe the report of the most I can say, well, Jordan, wake up right now. And if that's what the Most High decide to do, Jordan, get up, start walking around, the Most High can touch Jordan, and that tumor can go all the way away. But if he decides, son, come on home, Jordan gonna be in a better spot than a lot of people. Somebody catch that later. See, I've learned not to be selfish. The Most High used to show me, even with my older generation, that's selfish. You trying to hold on to them because they suffering. Ain't nothing wrong with praying. Keep praying. But my Holy Spirit say, when my decision is made, you can keep praying. But when my decision is made, if I'm gonna call them on, it's nothing you can do about that. So I've learned to accept that with whoever it is. And that's why I'm gonna forever pray. But when the Most High says it's time, what can we do, Long Beach? See what I'm saying? So love y'all. That's my prayer. Continue to do his will. Love y'all. And y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day. Shalom.